Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your home for all things Liverpool. Today we've got some huge headlines. Alexander Isak has rejected a new Newcastle deal and is making a bold Liverpool demand. Plus, Fabrizio Romano has dropped bad news on a $100 PSG target linked to the Reds. Stick around for all the details, and if you love keeping up with the latest LFC transfer news, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe so you never miss a breaking update. Alexander Isak rejects second Newcastle contract offer and makes Liverpool demand. Alexander Isak has made it clear to Newcastle United that he wants to join Liverpool this summer after rejecting a new contract offer from the club and training alone. Newcastle United attempted to renegotiate a new contract with Alexander Isak earlier this week, but the player rejected the approach and made it clear that he wants to join Liverpool this summer. That's according to Fabrizio Romano, who claimed during a recent video that Isak has no intention of signing a new deal with Newcastle. Liverpool submitted a formal offer worth $148 million in an attempt to sign Isak earlier this window, but the bid was rejected. Due to uncertainty surrounding his future, Isak has been forced to train away from the rest of the Newcastle squad. Isak is under contract at Newcastle until June 2028, but head coach Eddie Howe confirmed that he will continue to train in isolation unless his attitude changes. An attempted contract renegotiation and substantial pay rise for Isak failed, and the player is pushing to join Liverpool. I'm told that he's saying in a very clear way to Newcastle this week that he's not willing to sign a new contract at the club, Romano said in a recent update. Newcastle tried again earlier this week, but Isak has no intention to sign and wants Liverpool. Howe also provided an update on Isak's situation on Friday. We've had discussions, and it's clear at the moment we can't have him involved with the group, Howe told reporters. I don't know how long that will be for. It's clear I can't involve him with the team at the moment. He is training later than the rest of the squad. There have been discussions since the tour. I don't think disciplinary action has happened. He is here, so of course he has a future at Newcastle. From our perspective, we would love to have him back with the team, but the situation has to be right for that to happen. Newcastle has made several attempts to sign a new striker this summer and was interested in Ipswich forward Liam Delap. Chelsea ended up signing the England striker, and Newcastle began to focus on Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike. Liverpool then agreed a deal worth $106 million to sign Ekitike, beating Newcastle to the signing. Then, Liverpool began pursuing a record deal for Isak, but Newcastle has yet to enter negotiations. Newcastle then attempted to sign RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko and finally had a bid accepted. However, Manchester United hijacked the deal after Sesko admitted that he'd prefer to join the Europa League finalists. It's still believed that Newcastle would only allow Isak to leave if a suitable replacement could be signed. However, with Isak unwilling to sign a new deal and his stock high, Newcastle may be forced to sell the striker. New Alexander Isak statement issued by Newcastle boss Eddie Howe. I can't involve him. Newcastle star Alexander Isak remains at the heart of major transfer speculation amid links with Liverpool, and Eddie Howe has spoken out once again after the Bay striker was left out once again. Eddie Howe has revealed Alexander Isak remains banished from his Newcastle teammates and does not expect him to return anytime soon. The Swedish striker is at the heart of huge speculation, with Liverpool keen to sign him. The Reds have already had one bid in excess of 100 mailers turned down for Isak, while the striker himself has submitted a transfer request. He did not join his teammates on the club's pre-season tour to Asia. While he is now back in the Northeast, the striker is still not training with the Newcastle first team. Speaking after Friday evening's pre-season friendly against Spanish side against Espanyol, a game that Isak missed, Howe revealed that he still does not feel comfortable restoring Isak back to his thinking. He said, "We've had discussions, and it's clear at the moment we can't have him involved with the group. I don't know how long that will be for. It's clear I can't involve him with the team at the moment. He is training later than the rest of the squad. There have been discussions since the tour. I don't think disciplinary action has happened. He is here, so of course he has a future at Newcastle. From our perspective, we would love to have him back with the team, but the situation has to be right for that to happen. Newcastle now have just a week left to prepare for their first Premier League game of the season against Aston Villa. Asked if Isak could appear in that game, Howe was not particularly optimistic. He replied, "I want Alex to be playing today. I want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There is no part of me that does not want that outcome. But I don't see the current situation changing before Aston Villa." Isak enjoyed a sensational season for Newcastle last term as he scored 27 goals in all competitions. The former Real Sociedad star still has 3 years left to run on his contract with Newcastle. The Magpies have so far faced difficulty in finding Isak's potential successor. They were previously linked with Hugo Ekitike, only to see him move to Liverpool. Benjamin Sesko then became a prime target, but he is now on the verge of a move to Manchester United. Arne Slot admits Liverpool are title favourites, but takes aim over 300 million spending Liverpool kick off the new season by facing FA Cup winners Crystal Palace in the Community Shield at Wembley, with the pressure on the Premier League champions to defend their title. Arne Slot accepts Liverpool are favourites for the Premier League title, but insists it shouldn't be about the money they've spent. The Reds have splashed the cash this summer with their spending nearly reaching 300 million and more to come. But the defending champions have raised almost 150 million so far in player sales, with further departures in the coming days and weeks before the window slams shut. The Liverpool boss said, "If you won it last season, it's quite normal that you are part of the favourites again for next season. For me, it would not be normal if it's about spending, because the net spend of us compared to the other teams is not in our favour if you look at the last 2 seasons. But it's completely normal that we are one of the favourites because we won it last season. And we brought in good players like all the other ones did, by the way. Liverpool only spent 10 million last summer on Federico Chiesa, while they earned more in outgoings. They're set to smash the British transfer record with a 116 million deal for Florian Wirtz, while Alexander Isak would cost 120 million at least to get from Newcastle this summer. Arsenal have spent close to 200 million this summer and brought in just 9 million, while Manchester United's move for Benjamin Sesko will take their spending to the 200 million mark with no money yet from outgoings. Manchester City have spent 150 million pounds in the summer, but also splashed out in January and have made 42 million this window. While Chelsea have also spent over 200 million but raised over 100 million as well. Slot added, "This is the Premier League. This is what makes this league so nice. I think there's only been one exception who didn't spend big in the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and that's been Liverpool last season. Sunderland is spending money as if they have a lot of money, of course, because they're promoted. So that is what happens in the Premier League. That's why it is such a nice league. So if we are only favourites because we've spent a bit, I would see that as weird because we've lost a lot as well. But that we are favourites because we won it last season and we played so well, that's clear. And the ambitions haven't changed because the ambition of this club is always to compete for every trophy. So that hasn't changed compared to last season. Not because we lost players and not because we brought players in. The ambitions are always the same at this club." Slot remained tight-lipped on the pursuit of Isak and the potential of an attacker coming in, but they are ready to spend big if the Newcastle striker is available, while a defender is also on the cards. Darwin Núñez deal poses transfer question. Liverpool must now address once again. In the latest blood-red column, Ian Doyle assesses the imminent departure of Darwin Núñez and the Uruguayan's impact at Liverpool. It hasn't often been said of his time at Liverpool. But there was a satisfying consistency to the reaction of Darwin Núñez's imminent departure that was very much in keeping with his Anfield career. If the news the Uruguayan's longtime suitors Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal had thrashed out a deal for the forward wasn't much of a surprise. Eyebrows were raised at the proposed $46 million fee for a player whom Liverpool committed to pay almost double that when taking him from Benfica 3 years ago. The general view on the funds raised? Not bad, but it could have been more. And that perhaps provides a fitting epitaph for a Reds stay, in which the end product, if by no means disappointing, didn't quite match up to expectations or potential. While Núñez never gave the impression of being overly perturbed by succeeding Virgil van Dijk as Liverpool's club record transfer, the $85.5 million fee, even if the Reds haven't had to pay full whack with not all of the add-on clauses having been met, was used as a stick with which to beat the striker. He may have been a favorite with many on the Kop, his name often chanted, even after the most cursory of contributions. But there were those, including a number from within the Liverpool fan base, who quickly grew frustrated with Núñez's ability to go from the ridiculous to the sublime, back to the ridiculous again. Often in the same match. There's no doubt in terms of outlay Núñez has proven a rare and expensive misfire by Liverpool, notably a signing championed strongly by then-boss Jurgen Klopp, rather than the data-influenced recruitment team. But his time at Anfield hasn't been a failure. A total of 40 goals and 22 assists in 143 games would be deemed pretty decent if it weren't for that mammoth transfer fee. However, general consensus will probably never be reached on the Uruguayan. For those who point to Liverpool having won the League Cup and last season the Premier League with Núñez in the squad, the counter will be the 26-year-old was injured for the Wembley win over Chelsea in 2024 and has started only one top-flight match since Boxing Day. And while his goal return was decent under Klopp, Núñez, no matter how hard he endeavored, has never been a comfortable fit after the shift in attacking emphasis following the arrival of Arne Slot as head coach last summer, increasingly a player of moments, such as Brentford and Paris Saint-Germain, away, rather than regular performance. Núñez, then, can be filed alongside Naby Keita in the Anfield annals, another player who arrived for big money and picked up a number of pieces of silverware. But, for admittedly differing reasons, rarely looked like he could fully justify a weighty transfer fee. In truth, Liverpool's fortunes with record signings during the Premier League era have largely been positive. Only Andy Carroll could be construed as a genuine flop, and even then contributed goals in the FA Cup semi-final and final, while an apparent disappointment such as Djibril Cissé still managed to score a penalty in a Champions League final, a goal in the FA Cup final, and a brace in the UEFA Super Cup final, all of which were won by the Reds. And that will augur well for Florian Wirtz, who became Liverpool's 26th record signing since the Second World War when arriving for 160 million from Bayer Leverkusen in June. Speaking earlier this week, Wirtz demonstrated a healthily dismissive attitude about his fee. "I don't think about this," he said. "How much money the clubs pay between each other doesn't matter. Of course, if Liverpool intensify their interest in Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak before the September 1st transfer deadline, there's every chance Wirtz will have the shortest ever reign as the Reds' most expensive buy. But as Núñez has proven over the last 3 years, even divisive record signings can leave a lasting mark at Liverpool and pick up the odd piece of silverware on the way. That's the kind of failure anyone would welcome." Fabrizio Romano gives Liverpool bad news on a 100-rated PSG star. Bradley Barcola is catching attention this summer, with Liverpool reportedly interested in the rising star of PSG. A report on Wednesday suggested a transfer might happen, but only if 2 big conditions are met. Either way, PSG seems determined to keep their young talent. With such a stacked and competitive squad, it's understandable that some players want more playing time elsewhere. Barcola has found it tough to break through, playing behind talents like Desiree Doué and Kavica Kvaratskhelia, which has sparked transfer talk. RMC Sports' Fabrice Hawkins says 2 things have to happen for Barcola to leave PSG. The player needs to want out, and the club has to get an offer over $100 million. So far, neither has happened, even with interest from Liverpool and others. What's the latest on PSG keeping Liverpool target? Amid the rumors involving Barcola, transfer expert Fabrizio Romano shared the latest on PSG's plan for the Frenchman. PSG has planned a very large contract offer for the end of the transfer window, Romano said, HTLE10 Sport. PSG is ready to present him with a very big contract to stay. On Friday, Florian Plettenberg from Sky Sport Germany shared that Liverpool are keeping a close eye on Barcola's situation. So far, though, there haven't been any offers or serious talks with the player's representatives. Liverpool's top priority is still Alexander Isak. But if that deal doesn't happen, the club is said to have enough funds to go after a big name, winger like Barcola. Meanwhile, PSG seem pretty relaxed and have made it clear that Barcola isn't for sale. Inside the club, they see the rumors as a possible distraction connected to Liverpool's reported interest in Isak.